Tack it before you wreck it. What is up, my fellow geeks? I am here in the workshop, aka the home office. And the reason I'm doing this video from here is because I'm going to walk you through the brand new Google TV Streamer 4K box. I'm going to hook this thing up and take you along for the setup process. We can try a couple apps. I'll try to sideload apps, see if that works as well. And we'll just check out the overall speed of this new streamer device, the newest Google TV box from Google. I've also, of course, got the remote right here for you, which looks a lot like the previous remote. And I want to show you because I do have the previous remote that I can hold side by side. You'll notice the previous remote is a lot shorter, and the reason being is because they added this. The volume buttons are now on the front of the new remote. The only other change is down here at the bottom where they had an exit button. You'll notice that little button looks like an exit. I think that's what that is. But they've got a star button now. So they got rid of that button, replaced it with a star. The star is apparently a customizable button. The other big difference, because they put the volume buttons on the front, they used to have them on the side. I liked them on the side. I thought that was a cool design. And using the remote, I actually liked it because it's a lot like a phone. It makes sense for volume. But for whatever reason, they put them back on the front. And this is the new remote for the Google TV Streamer 4K. So if you haven't seen the hardware itself, I did just post an unboxing video showing you hands-on with the hardware. You can check that out. I'll link that here right now. I'm also going to put a link in the description for you so you can see that for yourself. But without further ado, I've got HDMI, I've got the power cable, and I'm going to go ahead and connect this box. So I'll plug the HDMI in, I will plug the power in, and I'll switch it over right now so that you guys can see the screen as it's loading up. And there's the Google logo. You should be able to get audio too, so if there's any sounds to be heard, you're going to hear that on top of this. Okay, the Google TV logo is continuing to progress as this continues to load, and you can see that it's kind of moving through the motions. If you've ever used a Google TV box in the past, a lot of this might look familiar. I'm assuming the software hasn't changed all that much. Now it's got the glowing remote there. Start pairing. So I've got to put my final battery in the remote here, which I'm going to do right there. And to start pairing, it says push the back and the home buttons, which doesn't look like it's even necessary. I just put the battery in and it automatically recognized the remote. And so here we can go through the language selection. I'm going to pick English, of course. I'll pick United States. And then we've got setup with your Google Home app, which I'm going to take advantage of that because what that does is it makes it really easy to connect your Google account. So I'm going to take my phone here. I'm going to scan the QR code right there, and it should allow me to connect this to my Google Home app, which is exactly what it's letting me do right now. It says on the phone that it's currently looking for devices. You can see that. So it's going to find the Google TV box and hopefully, let's see, connecting to Google TV Streamer. There we go. And you can see the screen changed. It now shows that it's connecting. I'm assuming that it's going to use the same account that I have set up on my Google Home account, or app, I should say, on the phone. It says connected. Follow the instructions in the Google Home app. So the app is simply asking me to accept terms. It's asking me, okay, which room is this in? Let me just take it back to full while we do this. It's asking me which room is this device in? So I'm going to pick family room, hit next. It's asking me if I'd like to pick my Wi-Fi network. I want to use the same Wi-Fi that I'm using on my phone, which makes a lot of sense. So it makes that process very easy. Now, without even punching in my password, it's automatically connecting to my Wi-Fi network, which is nice. And I'll take you back over here so you can see the screen that's on the TV. It just says that it's currently connecting to my Wi-Fi network, and we will simply wait for that to connect. Okay, there we go. Looks like it has finally connected, although my phone just updated as well. So they both realize that we are connected. So sign in with your Google account. So now it's going to have me use my Google account to actually sign in to connect the box, which I will do. It's simply taking the account that I already have set up on my Google Home app and using that one to sign in. It's asking me to verify, which I will do with my thumbprint. And now it is signing in to Google TV Streamer with your Google account. So the process continues. All right, there we go. That was pretty quick, actually. So it's now signed in with my Gmail account, and it looks like it's restarting automatically. System update is installing. So it looks like, which has now become pretty common, especially when you get devices before they actually come out. But certainly even when you buy them at the store, one of the first things that they often do is they're going to install the newest software, because the software updates, as you know, they come so often that by the time you get the device from the store, maybe it was manufactured a month ago, it needs updated software. So that's what it's doing right now. So while it's running this system update, I want to show you what it's displaying on my phone. It's using my phone to have me choose my subscriptions. What do you subscribe to, which should already be set up, honestly, in my Google app. So I'm surprised it's asking me this. I'm not going to pick any of these, and I'm going to see kind of what it already knows from my Google app. I've used Google TV devices before. I currently use them in my living room. It's asking me to turn on the microphone to talk to Assistant. And now, there you go. Setup here on my phone is finished. So I'll hop back over to the TV to see where that stands right now. Looks like it's still installing that system update. We'll wait. All right, so it looks like the box has now installed its update. It's rebooting. It's got that Google logo back on the screen. We'll see if there's more of an update process involved here. Okay, so the update is finished, and now it's moving on with the installation. Control volume and power with Google TV Streamer's remote. Okay, so I'm not going to set up the remote to control my TV right now because I don't have this connected to a real TV. I've got it connected into my computer so I can record this so you guys can see it. And now it's going through the process of setting up your TV is what it says. You can see the progress bar on the bottom of the screen, 28%. And then it's just kind of showing me some of the features of the Google TV device. I've actually never seen this portion of the setup before. Comment below and let me know if you've ever seen this. Maybe this is new to the new software, but I've never seen where it kind of takes this long to set up your TV as part of the Google TV process. All right, that took a long time, and we are finally past that screen. I've never seen that. I don't know why it took so long. Get the most out of your Google TV. Your Google TV is ready to go, but here are a few optional features you can set up for a more personalized experience. Google Photos as your screensaver. I'm not going to do that now, but that's cool. Not something new necessarily, but always nice. Multiple profiles. You could put different profiles here on your Google TV. I'm just going to stick with mine. And then kids features. You can create a profile for your kids, including family-friendly recommendations and parental control. Now, I do like this at the system level because the current Google TV, at least as far as I know, it's not easy to set up kind of a kids login and an adult login. So apps have that, right? Netflix has that, for example. So once they get into Netflix, but as you know on Google TV, it'll suggest stuff right when you turn the device on. And sometimes those suggestions aren't exactly kid appropriate. So it's nice to see, and I haven't played with this, so I'm not sure what this looks like, but some sort of profile selection for kids, for adults, at the system level instead of once you get inside of the apps. Let's just skip this though and jump right to Google TV. And there we go. The Google TV home screen that we all know, many of us love. And yeah, it looks a lot like what we've always used before. It actually doesn't look different at all. It's exactly the same. And this is becoming very streamlined and consistent across devices. Whether you use a Walmart branded Google TV box, which those are pretty great, the NVIDIA TV boxes, those are very great, or of course the Google TV boxes that we're testing out here, this interface looks exactly the same. Of course, once you get into settings, you may see some different things, and here are your apps. Shows you what I have installed, which is going to be bare bones as we just set this up. But you'll notice because my account was already set up on a Google TV box, it already has a lot of my information in here. It's already throwing suggestions at me. These are probably the same suggestions that I would see on my other Google TV boxes. So that's the nice thing too, is that your information, your account level information is in the cloud. And I'm sure if you've used these before, when you sign in, Google says, all right, great. We know what you probably want. Even these apps that aren't installed yet, it's suggesting apps for me to install, likely based on the apps that I'm using on other devices. So let me go into the settings, because most of this is going to be the same as any other Google TV device, but I do want to go through the settings just to see what we have here, and I will move me. Sorry about that. What we have here that might be different, and maybe you'll catch stuff that I don't catch, but a lot of this is going to be the same. Google Home, there is some smart stuff on here, and I'm not sure if this is where it's located or not, but it says, to keep your account safe, Google wants to make sure it's really you trying to connect to a new network. You'll need to verify the new network to access the home panel. Okay, so let's do that. We'll verify this. It's asking me to type in my password. Do I even know my password? Okay, so it's actually asking me to type in my Google password just to verify this, which is kind of cool because this is stuff that's going to control things in your house. And you can imagine why they want there to be a different level, or at least another level of security on something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my password. Okay, I've typed in my password. Let's hit OK and see what happens. Control home devices from your TV. Home panel and doorbell notifications on TV. That's cool. Now, this is only, I'm assuming, going to work with the Google doorbell devices, the Nest doorbell devices. But nonetheless, still, if you have that for your doorbell, how cool is it that that'll pop up on the TV? If somebody pushes the doorbell, you can immediately see who's at your front door. And then my home panel, I'm assuming, is going to be my home devices. Oh yeah, so this looks almost identical to the app on the phone. In fact, let me show you what that looks like on my phone, just for comparison's sake. Let me go right into there. Yeah, that is it. That's basically the app that runs on my phone. Do you see that? I'll pop that kind of right there and put it right next to it so you can see. It's giving me basically the same interface that I have on my phone, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, maybe you could do something more customized for the actual TV screen. But at this point, we're all familiar with this. We know how to use this, and there we go. There's the different lights in my house that I have set up. I can go to basement lights and see all my basement lights. I can turn them all off. I do love having this on my TV. It's really cool that this is built in. I can adjust my thermostat right here. Very cool. So that's the Google Home stuff, the smart home stuff that's integrated into here. And you get to that. I believe the fastest way to get to that is by going to the settings option and you go right to Google Home. Maybe there's a better shortcut for that. That doesn't seem like the cleanest way to do it. Let me go back to my home screen. Yeah, I don't see it on my home screen anywhere. It would be nice to integrate that somewhere else for those of us who might use that a lot. Going to your settings and then clicking on an option seems a little cumbersome. Maybe there's a Google Home app in here. I don't see it. All right, so let's go back to settings. So we saw that, and of course you've got your screensaver settings. This actually just turns on your screensaver. You've got your Wi-Fi settings, accessibility settings. These are going to give you different accessibility options. You've got talkback, text-to-speech, your text scaling. You want bold text, accessibility shortcuts, accessibility timeout, audio description, and high contrast text, as well as captions, a lot of the stuff that you've seen on the other Google TV devices. So audio output, how do we want the audio to be output? This is giving us different options. This is where you can, this is a new feature. This is where you can connect earbuds. You can connect this to your Nest speakers if you want. So nice to see Google giving us more options for audio output. I love that you can easily connect like Google earbuds, Google Buds, for example, Pixel Buds, excuse me, and listen directly from the box to your buds if you want to kind of have that personal experience and not annoy other people who don't want to watch the show that you're watching. But that's where that is. And we also have standard Bluetooth connections. So you can see my remotes in there. Any other Bluetooth devices would be in here. If you use Xbox Cloud Gaming on your Google devices, then you'll know this is where you set up your Xbox controllers. We do have the option to set up the remote buttons. So this is like the volume button and the power button there on the remote. This is where you would set those up to control your TV. And let me go in here and also see what this looks like. So the volume control, I'm going to leave to CEC. And what that means is that it'll control my TV remotely by using a standard called CEC. It sends that signal through the HDMI cable. Power button is doing the same thing. So what this means is you don't actually have to set up you shouldn't have to set up your TV. You just use the power button on the remote. It'll send a signal through HDMI telling the TV to turn off or telling the volume to adjust. So that won't use the infrared sensor that's on the infrared emitter that's on the front of the remote. Of course, you can go in there and change that as well. And then customizable button. What can we use this for? So we can use this to go right to Google Home. Okay. Now, I knew there had to be a better way to get to that Google Home stuff, and that's it. They let you use the star button on the remote that's down there in the corner to get to that. You can just pick a favorite app, and then what's the last one here? Device input. Okay, that's nice. So you can change the device input, switch inputs for TV or other devices with the custom button. So if I click on favorite app, this just shows me the apps that I have on my device here. So if I want that button to go right to, let's say, the Google TV Free Play, which is Google TV's like free channels, for example. Now when I push that button, it should jump right to Google TV Free Play, which is exactly what it does. Let me go back because I do want to see what it looks like when you use that button for the Google Home stuff. Let's go back, and that was, where was that again? That was under Bluetooth. So this is the thing. This is under a weird spot because it's a Bluetooth device, your remote. So you got to go to Bluetooth, and then you go to Set Up Remote Buttons, and then we go down to Customizable Button, and then now I select Google Home, Create Shortcut for Google Home, View and Control Home Devices from your quick settings by pressing Star button on your remote. So let's do that. And that was easy enough. So I'm going to go back to the main menu, and then now when I hit the Star button, okay, so it brings it up exactly the same way it did before. It just brings it up by pressing that Star button. If you're using if you're using Google devices, a Google Home setup in your home, that is what you're going to use the Star button for. Almost unmistakably, that's your Star button use. And that makes a lot of sense. Now, not everybody's going to use that because not everyone's going to have Google Home devices, Nest thermostats, Z-Link, Z-Wave lighting, or things like that, or a doorbell, for example. Not everyone's going to have that set up. But if you do, that's almost certainly what you want to use that Star button for, because that'll take you right to those settings, which I like having quick access to that. All right, let's continue into the settings and see what else we can get to in here. So proactive personal results are now on. That's for Google Assistant, so it's going to automatically try to figure out what you want to watch. I can finish setup here for optional features. I can clear everything out. I'm assuming that would clear out all my settings and start over. And let's go to all settings here, because this is going to take us into a little bit of a deeper dive here of all of the settings. And I'll put my little circle here in the middle so we can kind of see what we're dealing with. So display and sound, you've got the normal settings here. You can change your text scaling. You can match your content dynamic range, match the content frame rate. A lot of these settings, most of us won't have to mess with. Do you want to change the resolution? It's going to assume and figure out what your TV is. If your TV is 4K, it should set the resolution to 4K automatically. You'll know if you need to dig into these settings. Advanced display settings, you've got a gaming mode, preferred dynamic range, a format selection, which lets you choose, let's see here, Dolby Vision, things like that. Again, you're kind of a high-end user if you want to dive into those, and you probably understand what all of those settings mean. I'm not going to get into the details of that right now. Same thing with the color format. Most of us are going to leave that on auto. System sounds, we can turn those on and off. Audio option, we've got a volume leveler, which is nice to try to keep all the volumes consistent no matter which app you're using. And then dialogue enhancer, that's kind of cool. And we've all watched those movies or TV shows where it's like, I can't hear what the people are saying. That's a feature that's supposed to help that. Kind of cool. And then advanced sound settings, what do we have here? Automatic, enable only the formats that are supported. So this is kind of the same as the video formats, but this is going to be for audio. And you'll see here, these are the different audio formats. You're advanced, and you know what all this means if you need to be in here at all. Most of us, again, if you don't have a giant home theater setup, most of us are going to leave this alone. It's nice to see these advanced features in here, and they belong in here. A lot of set-top boxes don't give you these access to these types of selections. So it's nice to see it, it's nice to know where it is, and you will certainly know if you need it or not. So network is simply your Wi-Fi network connection, accounts and profiles. This is where you can add a kid profile. There we go. We see that again. So this is definitely something new that I haven't seen on Google TV in the past. And hopefully they'll add this to other Google TV boxes. I'm assuming they will. And then in privacy, you've got your privacy settings, location, microphone, camera. Of course, you can adjust all of this for privacy purposes, payments and purchases, manage your updates here. That's standard privacy stuff. In your apps section, you can see all your apps. You can see your unused apps, which apps you're not using, and you can delete them for those purposes. You can manage your updates, set app permissions, the normal app menu stuff. In your system menu, what do we have here? So ambient screensaver, this is to set up which screensaver you want. So if we hit start now, it'll simply take us into that normal Google TV screensaver mode, which is always nice. You can go into settings, and we can actually change it to Google Photos, to Art Gallery, custom AI art. Oh, use generative AI to create your own images. That's kind of cool. I wonder what that looks like, and I've never seen that before on Google TV, so perhaps that's something new. Personalize your TV screensaver by creating your own AI-generated images. Well, then why am I picking images? Let's just pick this one. Okay. Set all as, what does this say here? Let's see. Let's just do this and see what happens. I'm not sure if it's generating images kind of on the fly. Custom AI set. Okay, so let's go back and start it. That looks like it did before. modify. Okay, let's try it again. So maybe these are AI generated images. I mean, this looks like the image I just selected, so I'm not sure how AI generated that is. And more importantly, why not just use real images? Why use AI images if they have nothing personal about them necessarily? Well, we'll have to play with that some more, and you can certainly play with that on your own as well. You can adjust the weather settings here, whether you want Fahrenheit or Celsius. You can adjust the time settings. Do you want to show the time? I like the time to be on my screensaver. Do you want your device information to be on there? Do you want personal photo data? These are all the typical settings for the screensaver on the Google TV device. And so we're going to get back out of there. You've got your About page. This is all the normal stuff that you'd expect to see. Your device name, your factory reset option. You can go into get your status. The TV OS version, this is running version 14. Shows you which build you have as well. The very standard About page stuff. You've got your date and time settings, your language settings, your keyboard settings, and then your storage settings here, which is kind of interesting because there is no extra USB port on the back of this device, but there is the USB-C port that you use for power. Now, on previous Google TV devices, you could get a hub, a powered hub, so that it's still sending power to the Google TV device, and then plug in a storage device and it would actually recognize it. I don't have a powered hub. I can't test that out myself, but I wouldn't be surprised if this Google TV device supports it just like the previous Google TV device supported it as well. So we're going to have to get a hub, a powered hub. It's got to have a lot of power because it still has to power this Google TV device. And then once you get that power in there, you can use the hub to add an external hard drive or USB thumb drive, for example. But there is a significant amount of storage. 32 gigs of storage on this should be enough for most people. Previous Google TV devices had 8 gigs of storage, which was not nearly enough. So hopefully this is enough for most people. Okay, so we have a shut-off timer. Automatically turn your Google TV box off if nobody's using it. That makes sense. You've got your Google Cast settings. Do you want to let others control your cast media? So if you're playing a TV show to this Google TV device, can other people on your network pause it, etc., etc.? So that's a normal setting. You've got devices. It can scan for nearby devices, get notified when devices are nearby. Not super familiar with exactly how that would work. And then you've got a restart option. But that's it for the settings. That's pretty much all you have when it comes to the settings. Many of those you're going to be familiar with because they're very similar to what we had on other Google TV boxes, and just a few that maybe are unique to this newer software update or this newer hardware specifically. Okay, now I want to try to sideload an APK file, an Android app. And I have this app that I installed on the box called Send Files to TV. This is an app for sending files from your phone over to your TV. So I'm going to load it up, and I'm going to go down to Receive. And now I should be able to go to my phone. The same app is on here. It looks very similar. I'll hit Send. And then I pick a file, which I will select an APK file that I have saved on my phone. Okay, so I have the Opera TV browser here. And then as soon as I hit that, it gives me the option. It says, what do you want to do? Let me put this full screen so you guys can see this. It automatically says, hey, this is another device on your network that's trying to receive a file. So I'm going to go ahead and tap that. And now, take a look at that. So it's transferring the file over. If you've never used this app, again, this is a great app for getting files from your phone over to your TV without too much complication. And let me tap on this. And now what do you want to do? Well, I'm going to open this. It's an APK file. And it's saying, for security reasons, Android does not allow your phone or smart TV to install unknown apps. So what we have to do is hit this, and do you want to allow it to install unknown apps? Well, of course I do. Okay, so what's interesting is when it jumps over to this, I'll try this again and show you. When I hit open, it says show settings to change the settings to allow unknown apps, and I can't choose it. The remote will not let me pick this setting and change it. So let's go back into our settings and see if perhaps, okay, so it's not letting me install sideload apps by default. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to do this, is to go into your About page and you go down to the build number and you hit this about 15 times with the remote button, and this should, there we go. You are now a developer. So that should allow me to change that setting. So let's go back and see if it'll allow me to do it when I'm inside that Send TV app. That was the easiest way to get to it. So now that I've enabled the developer mode, there we go. So now when I hit this and I hit open, and then I hit show settings. Now it gives me the option to switch that over. Let me show you once again, in case you missed that, how you do that. So you go into settings, go to all settings, and then go down to system, and then go down to the about page, and then now you want to scroll down to where it says Android TV OS build. It won't let you sideload apps unless you do this, and then you hit your remote button over and over and over again until you see you are now a developer on the bottom of the screen. It's telling me no need, you're already set up as a developer. It's basically enabling developer mode here on this box and allowing you to do things like install apps that aren't necessarily in the App Store. They don't make it hard, but they certainly don't want people to mess up their box unbeknownst to them unless they know what they're doing. So now I can turn that on. I can go back. Let's try again to install this. Let's open this. And now it's installing this internet browser app onto the device. And we'll see if this app opens up. The app's not compatible with your TV. So basically what I wanted to show you is that you can sideload apps. Unfortunately, this app is old enough, and it even says Sony in the file name, so maybe it's specifically for a Sony device, but you're gonna have to find APK files that are compatible with your specific Google TV device. So it is possible to sideload apps here on this Google TV Streamer 4K box. You just have to enable developer mode. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a brief kind of look at the brand new Google TV Streamer 4K. Try to take you through some of the settings, show you the sideloading process. It does work. And if you've got more questions, if you want to know more, if you want another video showing some more stuff here on the new box, just comment below. I'll comment back on every single comment. I love reading those comments. Subscribe to this channel. It is super helpful to help us grow here on YouTube. And there you go, guys. Let me know what you think. Tech it before you wreck it. I'm Kirk.